heretics. There was a sister with a wonderful story that wanted to disassociate tonight. She sent me a message that her husband said, "You have to disassociate now. Otherwise, you will change your mind." So I worked around her schedule and I made this. And 2 hours ago, she blocked me on Facebook. That's so funny because I got someone that's better. So don't worry. But if someone don't want to disassociate, I'm not Watchtower. You're allowed to change your mind, but please don't block me on Facebook and waste my time. So, but I have this guy, and he is a very famous rapper and ex-Jehovah. Tell us your story. What's your rapper name?
Rapper name is Shawn Breed. If anybody wants to Google me and see all my work, see my videos, I'd appreciate it. Even more, I would appreciate if they would buy some of my songs. So yeah, that would be good. But yeah, Shawn Breed, man. And just first off, I want to say it's great to actually be on your show. Someone put me onto your channel. They sent me you, and I said, wow, I like the energy, I like the knowledge, the wisdom, the
Yeah,
understanding. I like it. So I'm happy to be here.
I'm known for my wisdom. No, but funny thing that this guy, this brother, is not baptized. So he would be in
Never
the
was.
perfect situation to fade, but he still wanted to be disassociated, and that's pretty cool. So tell me, how did you bring up in the so-called truth?
Well, I hear people say first, second, third generation. I think I got that down a little bit because my grandmother was first and then my parents second. So I guess I was third generation. It was all I knew. Everyone around me, family members, even my uh, stepfather at one point, his family, friends, neighbors, everybody Jehovah Witnesses everywhere I look. No Baptists, no Hindus, no Muslims, Jehovah Witnesses, right? So that's how I basically grew up in it. It was by default, I had to. So
Yeah,
it's all I knew at that time.
feels familiar to me. Did you
Sour
like being
story.
a witness?
Yeah, for the most part, you gotta understand when I got to an age where I can kind of like try to navigate through this world and do what I felt was right for me. Music, the entertainment world, was the first step. So I would go to recording studios, and so I didn't, and I almost feel like I'm cheating, because I hear all of these stories about people that had elder fathers and full time. I didn't have that. I had parents that were kind of like stepping in and out. They believed it. They were born into it, but they kind of like gave leniency because at one point or another, at one point in time or another, they weren't really active. You know what I mean? So then I
Yeah,
would use that to run around and do what I wanted to do, and then they would kind of straighten up and say, hey, you're going too far left. But I almost felt like I cheated people in some sort of way, especially when I started my own channel, because people had war stories, man. People were like, "Oh, I had family members, I had cousins like that. You can't do this. At one point, you can't hang out with Shawn. He's rapping now. You know what I mean? You got to go out and field service." I was never really made to go out and field service, you know? Yeah, I didn't have it that bad, to be honest. Yeah, I got to be honest with you.
did you believe in it like when you were kid? And
Totally. Yeah, totally. I there was one part that was I was always a deep thinker. I was the guy that, at 7 years old, I would get up and read the newspaper. That's when, before cell phones, newspapers, and I was up before everybody, and I'm reading, about politics and what's going on in this country. So you couldn't put one over on me that easily. But through rational thinking, I thought was rational thinking at that time, I said, well, it makes sense, that there's a creator of this world, and that, this is screwed up, this world, and he'll fix it and make a better world. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, so those preliminary, things for a 7-year-old made sense to me, you know. And so I went with it, and I was like, yeah, this is the way it should be, right? Um,
Yeah, the whole idea that we need a paradise and therefore it's true.
Correct. Yeah, and that was my thinking, which was actually pretty abnormal for a 7-year-old to be contemplating these things in his mind. While my schoolmates were thinking about their next Atari game. What cartridge they was gonna get next. Donkey Kong or Frogger. And I'm thinking about this new system of things. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, but it prepared me for the critical thinking later on in life.
Hmm. Yeah, I was kind of the same. But okay, I can tell you this is a kind of Scandinavian joke because when I was a Jehovah Witness in Sweden, we got all this paper from America, which I now know is kind of Bethel. They were going around and cleaning the Bethel rooms, and they would spy on the Bethelites what kind of music they listen to. And then they came up with this list of you cannot listen to trash metal, heavy metal, this metal, that metal. And it originated to Bethel, and then it all of the sudden it was in Sweden, and we had all these elders that never heard about anything but accordion and kingdom melodies that were having speech about the dangers of thrash metal, and we have to memorize the difference between thrash metal, heavy metal, and everything. And they didn't even know English, so they would say thrash metal, heavy metal, because heavy spells like heavy. They didn't
Yeah.
know what they were talking about, but they knew it was terrible because Watchtower said so. And then they came to rap, R-A-P, and that is an actual literal Scandinavian word. It means burp.
Oh, so
So
it was
all of the sudden,
really
all the
bad.
Swedish elders thought, at least now I know what I'm going to talk about. So they went quite quick through the thrash metal, heavy metal, or like they said, thrash metal, heavy metal,
Mm.
and black metal. But when they came to burp music, they said, obviously, as Christians, we know that Jehovah gave us our vocal cord. So when we sing, we use our vocal cord. And burp music is obviously something Jehovah Witnesses would not be burping. So I
Wow.
had been sitting in Kingdom Hall for many times, listening to elders scare us for the dangers of burping while singing
Oh,
about
burping.
things.
So you really just totally messed my whole. I can't unthink that. Every time I see a rap award show or something, I'm going to be thinking about burp music. This is
Well,
not cool.
listen to the word rap. Rap. It's basically the same as burp. It's
Yeah. Oh my God,
so.
that's what
And I
I've been doing
remember
all
because
these years. I've been burping.
the kids, the Jehovah Witness kid, we believe the religion, but we used to be sitting laughing at the elders who didn't understand English because we spoke better English than them, the younger generation.
Yeah,
So we were
yeah,
sitting like this
yeah.
laughing, and our mother like, human imperfection. You have to respect the elders. And I never forget all the kids went up to the elders after the meeting and tried to explain to him, it's not called thrash metal, it is trash metal. And the elders were absolutely scared because how do the children in the congregation know about all these satanic things that I never heard about?
Oh, oh, just because we're about 40 years younger than you, that's about it.
It
Yeah.
was fun. But
Oh my God.
several occasions, I heard people from the platform give a long speech about why it's wrong for Christians to be burping obscenity.
Mm, wow.
And that's
That
why
puts
it's
a
so funny.
spin on
You're
things.
one of the people that actually did the burping.
I'm a burper. I'm a burper. I admit to it.
uh,
Oh man.
so
But
what
yeah.
happened when you were a rapper and unbaptized publisher?
Well, a couple of things happened. Obviously, the brothers and the people my age in the Kingdom Halls would kind of like, I guess, idolize me in a way. They would see a music video, or at that time when I first was starting out, I was performing here. So there was a flyers up around on telephone poles. And so there was kind of like, wow, like, almost like I'm not supposed to be talking to you right now, but it's like, yo, man, I really love what you do. But, kind of like looking over the shoulder, So I had that world, but then I also had the world where their parents would say, kind of like, Shawn seems like a good guy. He seems like, because I was very mannerable. How are you, shaking hands, and very, very cordial when it came to that, always. But there was still something. They would say, don't get too close to him. He's got one foot out in the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it in some weird way, it even seemed like some of the parents were like, oh man, I wish my son had that talent, and I wish he was on his way to where I was on my way to. Like, in some weird way, I could sense that there was a little bit of envy even involved in that. So it was a weird dichotomy. Extremely weird. Um, but it
You're
yeah,
probably like sliding in between.
yes,
I
yes,
guess if your parent, I'm just guessing now, but the Jehovah Witness culture is kind of the same everywhere. Your parents
yeah,
were not super witnessy, and
yeah,
therefore
correct.
the expectations from you was
Sure.
kind of the
There you
same.
go.
If your
There,
parents would
there
have been
you,
elders and you would be a rapper, it would have
yeah.
been
It would have been totally different because I had cousins and people around me, uncles and brothers that are still elders. You know what I mean? So, and I know with their children, it was like, no, no. I mean, you guys can hang out, you can play some basketball, whatever, but cut it short. When we were younger, it was like, you can't, get too close with him because he lives a different life. He lives a different world, and which I did. But the thing is, with me, I wasn't trying to hide it. Like, I would walk in like the Kingdom Hall, head up high. It wasn't like, oh, I hope no one found out that I did this or that. It's like, nah, I'm not trying to hide it. I wasn't defiant, like, oh, I'm gonna be egotistical about it. But it was like, no, this was a God-given gift, and music was my remedy. It was my sanctity, and it was like, you're not taking that away from me. I don't care if I became a circuit overseer. I don't care what I became. I'm still going to be doing music. Like, that was something that I wasn't giving up regardless. There was no bargaining with that,
yeah.
So yeah,
So
yeah.
see what Else Bell's saying here. She said, "I used to get in trouble for wearing baseball caps the wrong way around." And
Mm,
and it was the same in Sweden. If you have the baseball cap the wrong way around,
yeah.
they would you would get in trouble. So that's why it's so fascinating that you're a rapper. Do you remember that there was a track, about Happy Family Life or something, and the kid had a baseball cap the wrong way.
Yeah.
So we used to show the elders that it's nothing wrong. It's even in the literature, and then watched how it changed the picture on that tract. So the cap is turning the right way.
And you see it in the videos. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, good guy, possibly, spiritual guy, you know, bad guy. It's like, because you switch the hat around. It's like, it's crazy. But that had more to do with even in the American culture, people that weren't a part of the organization. That had something to do with also just, um, I guess, different parts of. Is an echo? I hear echo. Do you hear it?
No, I can't really hear it.
Okay, I hear echo somewhere. But that's part of generational gaps. You know what I mean? Because even outside of the organization, sometimes you come in a house with your hat backwards. It's like, fix your hat, boy. You know what I mean? What are you doing? Like, fix it, turn that hat around. So, but yeah, but so there was no inhibition on my part. But I also got bombarded with. I had studies all throughout my life. You know what I mean? Many different studies with weirdos. I call them. And no disrespect to them, most of them were weirdos. You know what I mean? Falling asleep during the study. I mean, they're having a study with me and my brothers and sisters. And then you would just like see them, and they're just like, sleep, and it's like, just to like wake them up. Oh, so John 3 said, you know what I mean? It was like, and they just came across as very weird to me. I don't know what it was, but I said, they just are not normal in a sense, not even their thinking, but just how they operated. These are the ones that were just they were gun ho. They tried to live up to every letter of the law, and in my opinion, it will drive you insane. We're not talking about being a moral person, somebody that say, "Hey, I just try to do right by others. I try to live a good life for me, my health, my my mental health, whatever." These were people that actually tried to live by this doctrine. Um, 100%. And I've seen people go bananas. I've seen them go crazy, literally go crazy, where it's like you can see in their eyes that they're not even there anymore. They've become a zombie, a JW zombie, and it's sad. It really is.
How do you mean JW zombie?
It was robotic. Everything was almost like their soul was taken away. It's like it's not natural to try um to live by everything that the organizations say you should do. At one hand, they say we're all sinful, we all fall short, but on the other hand, it's like, well, damn if you actually fall short on one of these things. It's like, so I think that subconsciously people know that they can't really be human. They can't, fall short. Like they say, and I forget which scripture, fall short of the glory of God, like falling short. I don't think people are comfortable with accepting that, even though it's going to happen naturally. We're human, you know. But I think these people took it too far, and I think we all know people like that just they literally try to live like it's 1,000 years from now and they've already been perfected, if you believe that, you know what I
Nah.
mean? And they try to live that perfection like right now in this world, and you're going to go insane. And I've seen it time and time again. I've seen people go insane, you know, because it's not natural. It's not natural.
It's not natural. So, okay, obviously talk about 8 million people now, and none of us are mental health specialists. But when you based your life on a very complex delusion that control your life, things can go wrong. Like my lovely wife explained, why not everyone understand why it's a bad thing to be in a cult. It gives you something nice. But the thing is, if I tell you that you wave this to get energy from the universe and you will feel good, and you believe it and you do it and you feel good, why would that be bad? Well, because you gave power to me. I told you how to wave it, and the next step will be you don't feel good, and I tell, well, that's because you are waving it wrong. Listen to me, do exactly what I tell you, and I start
Correct.
taking control. Because as long as you believe that you get power from universe by waving this, you give me power over you.
Correct.
I can
That's
tell you that
very
now
correct.
you're waving it wrong. You're using the wrong hand. No, someone ate fruit 6,000 years ago, and everything you do is wrong. When I wave it, I can see the future. That's really easy to see. When I waved it, I could
Yeah,
see the future, and you're very impressed. Like I know something wrong with me. It's like combination of authority and gaslighting, and it's not a
sure,
good
sure.
thing to be in a cult.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. And I don't know if we're jumping the gun here, but that was one of the reasons when that was one of the things I remember it. I almost remember the Sunday when I first realized that there was a governing body. At that time, I was mystified. At first, it was like, wait a minute, okay, there's somebody, because at that time I don't think they kind of promoted that there was 7 or 8 members. It was, I always remember just hearing a couple of names here and there, but they get direction from this Jehovah God. They get like so it's different from everyone else that prays and they claim to get direction. This is something different. Oh yes, my mother would say, yes, or oh, did you know that sister so and so actually met so and so? Who is that? governing body. So they already separated themselves from whoever this person or people were. The way they spoke about it, it was almost like, I'm like, wait a minute, Michael Jackson is like the biggest guy, the biggest celebrity on earth in my eyes. You're saying there's somebody bigger than Michael? Yes, you know what I mean? And it's like, they talk to Jehovah directly. He gives them direction, you know. So at first I was intrigued. I said, at one point I was like, I gotta see one of these guys. Like because I thought at the picture that I painted in my mind. I don't know, you remember the movie Conan? Arnold Schwarzenegger played in the movie called Conan some years back.
I'm not like you. I was a good witness. I don't even. I
Okay,
know
you
it's
didn't,
something violent. I've
okay.
never seen it. But
Oh,
please
okay.
explain to me what it is.
7 feet tall, 7 feet tall, 300, 400 pounds of muscle, maybe with a sword bigger than me in one hand. Like, this is what I envision about these governing body people. Like, they
Oh,
are just, they are beasts. They are the green giant, that's on the vegetable package. Like, and it wasn't that. I think I saw a picture somewhere and I was like, wait, so like in my mind, what kind of magical powers do they have? I know I did a video where I was joking about it, but at this point, 12, 13 years old, I was like, they gotta have some sort of magical powers. So I started asking stupid questions like, mommy, so if you threw a governing body like off the roof, like would they survive? Well, no, they died just like us. So I was caught in between. It's like, wait a minute. Every time I give you some sort of human factor regarding them, you say they're just like us. But on the other hand, you say they're not. They're talking to God directly, more than how we do. We pray and claim to talk to God, but they like really talk to God. And it's like, so I was confused. I was super confused. And then when I got to be, 17, 16, and I thought that I was a man at that point, and nobody's going to tell me what to do. And I'm making my way through this world, and I'm making impactful decisions in this world, especially when it came to my career and music, and people are looking up to me, and I'm standing on stage, and people are cheering for me. You're not going to get these guys telling me what to do. Like, what? Like, no, that old guy is not going to tell me what to do, and I'm not listening to them. I make my own decision as to how I want to interpret this thing, and I'm not. So I was always that freedom thinker, even in school. Outside of that, when I didn't follow the crowd, you know what I mean. So I was very headstrong when it came to things that I believed in. And when it was just certain things that weren't answered, like, wait, so God created Satan? Yes, he created Satan and he was once good, but then turned bad. I said, but then was the first time that God knew what bad was? When Satan, was that a new quality in something that, or did God already know what bad was and then Satan just took on that quality? Those were like, what are you talking about? It's like, what did God create bad or did Satan create bad? Like, did it just come into existence from Satan and God said, well, what is this thing that you're doing? I think I'll label it bad. Like, what, so it was going over, my thinking was going over people's head, even my parents. It was like, Shawn, you're thinking too deep. You're thinking, I don't know what you're looking at, who you're talking to. And it was just, so I wasn't filled. I wasn't fulfilled. The questions that I had, it wasn't, it didn't fulfill me just by saying, some things we don't know and we'll never
mm.
know until the new system of things. That didn't satisfy me. It's like,
Yeah, I
no,
was the
no.
same. I was also thinking, and I remember all the time my father told me that it's not illegal to think your own thoughts, but it's dangerous. You might become Satan. And What if you think your own thought and you disagree with Watchtower? Then God will kill you. And that I got to hear all the time when I was a kid. While your brain is developing, that's so dangerous. That's why I stayed in the cult so long, because I had this really, I was practicing as a child before school, all this thought blocking thing. If you get a thought, your own thought, you should think about a pet pan. No, then we had pet lions. Pet lion until the thought is gone. That was like daily routines, and my mother would always guilt, and we had to. God could only love us if we hated ourselves to the level of absolute hatred. So I went from stopping my own thought and hating myself as much as possible. So I'm a little bit jealous at you. You got to think your own thoughts, and you left so much earlier without being baptized even. So
Yeah,
it's not. I think it's a crime against children to do that, because while your brain, I'm a bit cranky about this. While your brain is developing, you're constantly told that you're not allowed to think your own thoughts.
very true. And one of the things that kept me at bay, because this is the part where I started experimenting with marijuana, and that's about it. Obviously, I would drink a beer here and there, but marijuana, I don't know if you've ever touched that. Probably not, because you were so closed in. But that was just the world that I lived in as far as being a burpa, um, uh, or a rapper. It was just something that you did, and it relaxed your mind, and it opened up your mind, and that really, it did two things. It helped me stay in a cult on one end, or not stay in it, but stay closely associated with it, but also opened up my mind to other things. Um, so the way that it kept me at bay was that um, the demons, and a lot of people don't speak about that. And I said this in one of my videos on my channel. That is that has to be. I don't know if Lloyd spoke about it. I don't know if you spoke about it. I don't hear that often, but you gotta admit, consciously or subconsciously, these invisible accomplices, bodyguards, workers of Satan or for Satan, running around, uh, can possibly be invited into your home and do harm to you. This was embedded in my mind as a young child. And then add marijuana to the factor, it's like, oh, like I think they might be here right now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's yeah. So that kept me at bay, because it's like, okay, the demons. You want the demons? You want to invite the demons? I remember a story really quick where they were saying something was going on in somebody's house, a Jehovah Witness friend of mine, and they were, he had an elder father, and they said, something is going on in this house. Um, and then they finally cleaned out the basement, and found a cross. It was a cross, I guess, left by the previous homeowners in the basement. And they said, here's the culprit. We had demons. We found the
Mm.
cross in the basement. We had demons in the house. This is it. Glad we found it. And it was just it was. I remember thinking, and I was young. I said, "What the hell is going on right now?" Like this. What kind of world are we living in? So I laughed, to be totally honest. I was like, but at the same thing, that was towards the end of my disbelief in that demons can um, have any physical effect on you physically. At one point, I think I saw a watchtower where, or an awake, where there was a story about a man that said he was sleeping and then slapped in the face. I'm like, oh wow, like now these things can actually touch you. You know what I mean? And was it your wife maybe that did that? And try to act like I don't, I don't know, but demons really played a big part. Um, I think even
Yeah,
up till now, with
my mother
with
used
people
to.
still in.
When I
Uh,
was afraid of monsters under the bed, she said, "There's no monsters under the bed, but there might be demons in your toys, or if the toy has been lying next to a toy that with a demon." And as a kid, you want toys, but you also realize that they came from the store where all the boxes are stacked close. So that means that any toy might have demons. And you hear these stories on a meeting about people being raped, waking up being raped by demons. Someone left a comment here, "You be raped by demons." So I remember I was lying in my bed picturing every part of the room covered with monsters.
oh God.
Because if there were so many monsters in the room, the demons would not fit.
Oh, that's horrible to live that life as a young boy, man. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's not healthy. But
It's really
the thing
not.
you said about Mariana is like I remember they would tell stories about that, like, well, I left the truth and I did things that Jehovah hate, and when you do things that Jehovah hate, you no longer have protection. And when I smoked marijuana, I was possessed by demons. They used to tell that story from the convention, and now I assume that he was just high.
He was just high, as
But
I
they would
was.
tell that from the
Yeah.
convention, that
He was just high.
every time I smoked marijuana, I was possessed by demons.
Oh, yeah. No, you was possessed by the weed man. That's all it was. Oh, but it's that's what it was, a compilation of all those things that woke me up and said, wait a minute, this is crazy. You know. I gotta tell you, I gotta put a disclaimer out there. I'm not one of those ex I don't know, ex-JWs that turned atheist. I still 100% totally believe in a divine, being, creator, whatever. I think a lot of people, hopefully, there's people that become atheists because of really, really critical thinking, and that's just the conclusion. But I always wonder if people just got so damaged by this concept of God and who God really is that they go the other end of the spectrum. I don't believe in any God now, and it's like, I respect everyone's belief, but, I just hope that with a lot of atheists that I see, even doing these channels, that it's not that you became so like, I hate men so much that all men are garbage. And now that, now I become, a lesbian, because I hate all men and I believe that all men are garbage. And now, I always felt pity for those people because I'm like, nah, there's good ones out there. You just ran across a bad bunch, you know. But that's just my belief. I just want to put that out there. I do
Yeah.
still believe in a creator.
Just Jade Wallaby say here, it's pretty telling that the Bible never directly says that demons are associated with any object, because I remember as a kid it says in the literature that Jehovah allow demons to take possession in objects, and there was no scripture.
None. None.
And
Yeah,
and I asked my parents. I said, "Watchtower, this Watchtower get report from Circuit Overseers. Like, okay, so
yeah,
they're experts on demons.
I- I-
It's okay. I don't believe in the Bible. I'm not an atheist, but I
yeah,
do
yeah.
not believe in the Bible.
No,
But the
that
whole
I
teaching
agree.
is not
See,
in the Bible.
yeah, exactly. I agree with that. I agree with that. A lot of people, when I say that, they say, "Well, Shawn, the Bible." I say, "Well, I didn't say I believe in that either. I didn't say that." They say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I assumed that when you said that you don't believe." No, I believe in. Obviously, there's certain moral things that you take from it. Thou shalt not kill, love your neighbor. Again, there's certain things. But as far as like certain stories, I believe in maybe the connotation, the meaning behind the story, what they're trying to say as a writer myself, like, okay, it's kind of poetry and, or whatever. But as far as just in general, like, no, I don't, I'm I call myself more of a spiritual person. Before there was a Bible, when there was whatever first conscious thinking humans on this earth, whatever they did, and as far as maybe even worship at that time or whatever, prior to anything written, that's probably who I am. That's probably what I am. A spiritual being that connects with a higher spiritual being and directed and guided in that way. That's about it.
Mhm.
But but we could go back and
Ben
forth
says
with
something. It says, "You
that.
don't need anything else than the quote, millions now living will never die off our earth." I don't know if the. Anyway, it's we're having 100-year anniversary now. I think we should have, like, they gave that speech in the university in Oslo. Millions now living should never die. So if I have the time to find the exact date, it would be fun to do a reenactment.
That would be wonderful.
I think we should do that, and we should do it before Lloyd steals this idea. we
Might
could
be too
find all
late
the
now.
places where he
Lloyd is
gave this
watching.
speech and do a reenactment. That would just be the
That
best
would
meetup ever.
that
I
would
would shave everything, and that our friend Rutherford, he used to wear this. He was kind of a badass. Have you seen that he was wearing his like this?
his collar up.
Seen it? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I never noticed that. I never saw him really.
Now you see, he
But I never.
always wearing this up like this, and
Ah,
this was and that's a political statement.
is that
Yeah.
what is it? What does it mean?
It was he was a politician. There was a politician that was wearing like this, and he was a candidate running for some kind of office. I think it was in Missouri, because Rutherford was from Missouri, and so people that agree with him did this, or those that worked on his campaign, and Rutherford was one of these. So the followers, or the close followers to that politician, did this. So it was a
Ah,
political statement.
wow, wow. You learn something new every day. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Ah,
So now I
mm,
think we should have reenactment, Rutherford reenactment.
that's a brilliant idea. Brilliant.
Just for fun.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I could dress up. You never use suits anymore,
Listen, yeah, exactly, exactly. And they're doing their videos and their movies. I think there needs to be a counteract to that. I think we got to show them up. We got to show them up. And people that have, especially equipment like yours, and they got lights and they got a decent camera, even with a cell phone camera, we need to do our reenactments, our videos, and kind of make fun of it, and counteract their move. That would be fun. I'm
What's
surprised more
your
people don't
rapper
do it.
name? What's your rapper
What's that?
name?
My rapper name is Shawn Breed, SeanBreed. You can Google me, see what you like. You're gonna see tons of music videos and interviews and maybe some tour footage. I think I got tour footage out there and a lot of cool stuff. I appreciate it. But
Do you
most
do
importantly,
cool gestures?
cool, Jess. Hey, what's going on? What up? What up? What up? No gang signs. No gang signs.
Teach
But
me.
yeah, just I always use this one. Everybody knows me for this. This is like you rock. This is like what the Rockers used to do. A lot of people don't like it because I think it's the devil's horns. You know what I mean? So they say, oh, it's like you rock.
Okay.
Uh, salute.
I-
We use salute now too a lot. Like
uh,
the military salute. Like that's what I do all day long. I'm out in the street. Hey, Shawn. I'm like, hey, salute. So yeah.
yeah, I don't like this because it looks like a slug eating my salad in the garden.
Hey, by the way, you didn't ask me. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I was born.
Oh,
This is my hometown. This is where I was born and raised. So the Watchtower headquarters, this was almost like, a couple of blocks away. Not a couple of blocks, but I mean like literally in my backyard almost. Like, the Watchtower building, the Brooklyn Bridge. Have you ever been?
No, but I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
want to go there because, um, okay, so growing up in Scandinavia, like Brooklyn is a household word, like the
yes.
Vatican would be for a Catholic, It's not a geographical place. It's more like, I don't know, like
A
Mecca.
title. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it's like
yeah,
this
yeah.
mystical thing that you can
Sure.
actually go there as a pilgrimage and
Yeah,
walk around it 7 times, and blow
yeah.
a trumpet. But it's kind of this mystical thing where magic happen.
Yeah, yeah. And you would cross the Brooklyn Bridge going into Brooklyn from Manhattan, from New York City, and they were really egotistical about it. They had the big watchtower light, at nighttime it lit up the whole sky watchtower. And yeah, and everybody had to see it. And there's probably millions of people crossing the Brooklyn Bridge every single day. And they saw that and it became a staple. That's still a staple. I think they took it down because somebody
Yeah,
else
they took it
brought
down.
those buildings. They took it down, but I remember the last time that I went to. It had to be about 6 years ago, maybe. I went to what is that called? Patterson? Is that the that's
That's the
Bethel?
farm, I think.
Patterson? Yeah, the farm or whatever. Yeah, I went. Or maybe it was Monroe. Maybe it was Monroe, but I went for the first. I think I went to Bethel, Brooklyn when I was young. We took a tour, see how they made the magazines. Um, but I recently, the last time, 6 years ago, and it was I almost couldn't. I'm glad I didn't go under the influence of. I would have been laughing the whole way. How these people operated. Just the fakeness, and I remember going into one of the dorms. The guide, the sister that was guiding us around and showing us. She said, "Okay, now I'll take you back to my room, my apartment," and a very pretty sister too. And she collected her whole wall was filled with wine corks. So she stuck every wine that she opened, the cork she put up on the wall, like in the kitchen or the dining area. And I was like, holy crap, that is a lot of wine. Like so she was a wine connoisseur. Like it was a lot of wine. Hopefully that was like a year's worth of wine because it covered like the whole wall. But she loved to drink her wine. Not saying anything was wrong with that. I'm a wine drinker myself,
My
but
experience is that, well, it's fair to say we, because I've been there, I drink a lot on Bethel. And you have a lot of rules, but when you have rules, you also get loopholes where you give yourself
sure,
leeway and they
sure.
get institutionalized. So
Yeah.
what you do, everything is, you have a plastic bag, you put alcohol in it and something on top, and then it's okay. If it has the
Oh,
shape
yes,
of a
yes,
six pack, it's okay because there's something on top. But
yes, yes.
and I
Yeah.
remember I was in the convention hall in Sweden, and we had sauna in the convention hall.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put on a suit, and then I would
Mm-hmm.
have a bag and a six pack and a towel on top, and I would mingle with all the witnesses. And then when the program started, I went to the sauna and sitting there drinking beer. Scandinavians like sauna. And then when the program started, went out from the shower, put on my suit again, and went out and mingle, talk to the sisters basically.
Oh, wow. And you're feeling
And I
really good
remember,
at that point.
and then obviously my face was red, and I remember like the most cranky, high-ranking guy on Swedish Bethel. They saw me with my six pack, my bag, and everything, and they just looked me up and down and looked away because that's the way it is. You keep it under wrapping,
Wow.
and no one cares.
Wow.
So all
Ah.
the other
And I,
witnesses, they didn't know what was happening, that I had a six pack, but he knew me, or at least he knew that I was working there.
yeah.
And we do stuff like it as long as you keep it under wrapping. So the Bethel light's like, you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you hide it when the visitors come.
Yeah.
Visitors that go to Bethel can
Yeah.
never see what's really happening because,
Gotcha.
but the Bethel lights, we can just go, okay, he's making his own wine, he's making his own beer. That guy is a little drunk, but he's walking a straight line, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You have this system.
Wow. Yeah, and I saw a title of yours. I didn't actually see the video, but I saw a title where you totally gave that up, and I said, "Wow, this is interesting. I gotta look at this video at some point." I think you were speaking about it. You said why I gave up alcohol. I
Yeah.
don't know if it was a joke or it was,
No,
something that
I
was
quit
real.
drinking. Where when you leave the cult, you start feeling better and better and get more and more control of your life. So I
Yeah,
never been like a drunkard, but
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
frequent drinker because my family always drink. You're
yeah.
not
Sure,
working
sure.
or giving to Watchtower, you're
Oh,
drinking.
you're drinking. Oh, yeah. My type
So
of
it's a
family.
it's not a good habit. It's not healthy.
No, I know. I know.
And I picked up a book about addiction, and all addictions
Yeah,
is the same. You can be addicted to
sure.
Facebook is very addictive actually. You're
Yeah,
scrolling.
yeah,
That's actually the same thing happening in your brain as if you're working a slot machine.
sure,
You're
sure.
scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and all of a sudden, ah, look, a funny cat, and then you keep
Yeah,
scrolling. You don't stop.
and you keep, yeah, yeah, and it happens
So
pretty
I was
much
reading
all
this book
throughout the
about
day.
addiction, and then I realized that the Jehovah Witness religion is very much an addiction. They will tell you that if you don't go to the meeting, the demons will take you. They create this mental withdrawal. So when you go out, they tell you, now you're in the meeting, and now when we're here at the Kingdom Hall, we feel happy. But as soon as you go out from that door, you will get anxiety. But don't worry, you come home and you get your Bible and you get a fix. And it's basically the same as creating a mental withdrawal as long as you don't take your Watchtower drug.
Correct, correct,
And when
correct.
you get this personality that's addicted to something, and it's a sliding slope, but an addicted person will always say, and they said in the book, that I love my family more than my drug. I love my family more than my addiction. But their actions will always say that they love the drug more than their family. And that hit home.
Yeah,
Because what
yeah,
do Jehovah Witness do? They say, oh, I love my family more. But nope,
sure,
they will
sure.
cut you out straight away if you don't.
That's right.
So when I read that sentence, it was like this: I will
That
never
was,
ever drink alcohol,
yeah,
and I never did.
yeah.
I will not be like my
Good for
family.
you.
I will not behave like a Jehovah Witness in any way.
Good
I
for
don't
you.
want to have anything part of that culture. So
Gotcha.
it was a good day.
It was a very good day. I love this, man.
But you never obviously never been pioneer. You were never baptized, so you basically never had any fun. Like watch because it could be fun sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
I
never tried it.
guess.
You were never baptized.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to just get I'm trying to think about the incentives, like, hanging around the people that I probably hung around with regardless. Like, I don't know. I can't find it in my mind. Maybe if I actually did it, it would have been fun, but I can't find it right now where the fun would have been. I don't know.
Um,
I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't
I'm
know.
just impressed you managed to slide in two worlds so successfully,
Yeah,
being a witness and a
successfully.
rapper without being bad association, just suspected of.
Yeah. And I'm in a weird place even up to date. This weird place being that no one knows about this channel, or at least they don't claim they know. I
Yeah,
still see people out on the street. Hey, what's going on? How's everything? They're chatting. I'm waiting for the big question. Like, hey, are you doing a YouTube channel where you like? I haven't gotten it yet. You know what I mean? I obviously I'm small at this point. You know what I mean? But it's like I'm still. I have neighbors that live right around that. Good morning, hey Shawn, good morning. Like open arms still. And it's weird. It's always been weird to me because someone could be disassociated or disfellowship, and they'll be shunned. But me, I got videos where I'm using profanity and cursing, and I'm walking a whole walk or whatever, and I'm getting invited over to barbecues. It's like, yo, you coming over the bar? We got a barbecue happening, and it's like you would take me over them. Like what? I never understood it. It's like,
Well,
and all
you
until
know how
this
the field
day.
service hour works. They can do field service hour on you.
Yeah, and and that's the good part too, because they got past the part. I think they got past the part of even trying with me. They wouldn't even mention things like, hey, so when are you get like that died years ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like they gave up. We'll have a beer, we'll talk about a game, or we'll talk about my music. Like, oh, and surprisingly, they would see things that I've done. Hey, I saw this video. You're walking in the train station, like, and in my mind, I'm like, yeah, like, how did you see that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, so I'm still in a weird space. You know what I mean? And I'm even wondering that if the cat is let out, so to speak, and they do know that I speak openly against this organization, would they stop? Like, would they try to turn a blind eye to it? Like, oh, I didn't see anything, or would they really totally say? Because I really totally think, especially the ones that's in my age bracket, the younger ones, I really think that they sincerely like me. You know what I mean? Like, I like
Yeah.
this guy. He's a cool guy. He's good. He's got a good spirit. I think they really do. So I think a lot of them, they just turn a blind eye to it. Like, I didn't see anything. I don't know anything. Or maybe I'm not worth anything because I was never baptized. So it's like, hey, you're gonna die anyway. So, you know, you
Yeah,
know,
my brain is trying to wrap this because Jehovah
yeah,
Witness is very predictable, but it can go. There's a lot of like fork in the
sure,
roads. So I
sure,
think
sure.
this is my guess, educated guess. Like your
Hmm.
parents were like this, so you were expected to be like that, and it was like we give him encouragement and he can go up, and then
Hmm.
this get institutionalized that Shawn is the guy that's like this and we encourage him,
Yeah,
and that is just the way it is with Shawn. He is the guy that's like this and we
got
encourage
you.
him
I got you.
because
It makes sense. Makes
so,
sense.
so you're just stuck in that very nice loop. And then
Yeah.
the other thing is like when I go protesting again on conventions, if you're disfellowshipped, you're supposed to walk like this and look
Hmm.
away. You can't
Hmm.
talk to me. And I'm not like that. I'm nice. I'm talking to everyone and freely. And what
Yeah.
happened is that the witnesses talk to me because you're nice to them and it doesn't really fit their narrative of being an
Got
evil
you.
apostate or anything. So they don't know what to do. And, conventions are conventions. And well, I
Yeah.
used to be single, and even Jehovah Witness women sisters would be flirting with me, and I like, sorry, I'm an apostate, and they're like, yes,
Oh,
because the, if you're if you're nice to people, they're nice back. And
sure.
Watchtower's
Correct.
propaganda is that we are such a hateful and bitter people. So when they see
Yeah.
you, they say, "No, it's Shawn."
Yeah. 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 It's you explained it perfectly.
Yeah,
Perfectly, I think, and it resonates with me. Yeah, because you're right. It's just that simple. I guess humanity comes out at that point. Real humanity, and they forget that they're in this other world. But yeah, you explained it perfectly. And I guess I'm in a good place. Because and mind you, I would just want to add, I got two brothers, two biological brothers, that are elders. So I always wonder, and I still get the calls, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Hey, what you like that? And I'm waiting for the day where that can possibly stop, where it's like, whoa, something happened, somebody found out something, you know what I mean? Or like you said, or like, hey, you're not a factor anyway, but I never was talking against it openly. That's the difference, like I'm doing now. So that's where it gets a little shady, you know what I mean? And I was glad to speak to my dad openly about that, who I said they were like this coming up, but they leveled out in the last, 15, 16, 17 years, where they were kind of not gun ho. They still were like the cool Witnesses. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're very, the cool, the ones that are acceptable. They accept things a lot more than the other dogmatic ones. But my dad knew exactly where I stood before his passing. A couple of months ago, I said that I just don't. He would laugh. He would say, "Hey, hey, that's your thing, man. I love you for, you're my son." You know what I mean? So I had it good. And a lot of times when I read these stories of people and what they go through, it really hurts me. It really does. I'm like, damn, like I had it easy. I had cool parents that were like, I guess, grounded in that way, you know.
You're
Yeah.
basically more Mormon. That's what you're saying. You are so lucky. It's basically like Mormon shunning what you're experiencing.
Yeah. So
Have you
my
heard
my
Mormons?
heart goes out. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Have you heard Mormons complain about shunning?
No.
It's like a totally different story. So they say things like, when you leave the cult, it's so annoying because all of a sudden everyone invites you for barbecue and you get twice as many Christmas presents as usual.
Wow.
That's their
Wow.
shunning. That's so bad.
That's their show. Oh, wow.
Because people try
It's
to kind of love bomb them back. So all of a
sure,
sudden you're everyone's Christmas card
sure.
gifts and they
Yeah,
give you gifts and they invite you all the time. Like, oh,
yeah.
it's so terrible shunning.
Oh my God. It's like, I don't know. I never understood it. Like, you got your thing. Do you really love me that much? Forget about parents and siblings. Like, people that you really don't know, they go to the congregation. Like, do you really love me that much? It's like you got your money, right? It's almost like these scam artists on Facebook. Hey, did you hear the good news? I don't know if it happens where you are, but in America it does. You hear the good news? What? The government is giving out whatever, this amount of money. And it's like, you got yours? Yeah, I got mine. Why are you worried about if I got mine then? Like, who does that? No one cares about, yeah, you got everlasting life. You're in good hands with Jehovah. You're gonna be living in his paradise. Okay, why are you so worried about me or anyone else? At some point, just give up and say, hey, it is what it is, but they'll shun you. They'll do everything, except just love you for who you are. Like, it's ridiculous, but we already know that.
Yeah. But if
Yeah.
you, since we started talking about like describing Watchtower as an addiction, and because there's so much in common. If you have a drinking problem or any problem and you stop doing that, you lose your drinking pals. You know, your
Mhm.
drinking friends will not be
Sure.
okay with you coming over drinking
Sure.
water.
Yeah. No.
No, that's
No.
not cool. If you with us, you're drinking what we drink.
Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
why it's
That's
so
very
many
true.
similarities with the Watchtower religion to
Yeah.
a destructive habit,
Sure.
because you're only our friends if you do our drug. If you
Yeah.
don't do our
Yeah.
drugs, we cannot be friends.
Correct. Yep. The parallel is so close. Yeah. Yeah. Almost identical. Yeah. You're right. Totally
Okay.
right.
I can tell you the Bethel rules for booze runs because they have rules for that. They are all, they might be written down, but at least. So the thing is, you're allowed to go and buy booze. But since everyone on Bethel look the same and have the same schedule, then it would be very visible for the local booze guy in Brooklyn that, okay, now it's the witnesses coming, and then it's a long line of Bethelites buying booze. So they have some kind of rule that you have to go and buy somewhere else because everything has to be look nice. So that's the first rule. Well, what then happens if you have to go far away to get booze? Well, then you fill up the car. And since you still look like a Bethelite, dressed like a Bethelite, and have the same schedule, that means that a liquor store far away will know, okay, now it's the Jehovah Witnesses coming. So then they have to come up with a rule for that. So the basic rule that they will announce it, but it's not written, that you should not go to the local to get. You can go to a local, but then you have to go to a certain time where no other Bethelites will be there. So if you have a dentist appointment, well, then you can go to the booze guy, because then it's not like visible that it's us. It's not a bad witness. But when you go to another place and fill up the car, then that's also bad witness. So the idea is that you go on a booze run, a Bethelite booze run, you go to a liquor store far away and you buy whatever you can carry out in the car. If you need more, you have to go to a new liquor store.
So Tony Morris had it wrong then.
That's the
He had
point.
it right. Yeah.
Because the basic Bethel rule is that you go, this is an unwritten rule, but they will tell you, you don't go to the local store unless you can do it like during work days because you had some other errand. You go far away, but if you buy and then you take what you can carry in two hands and put it in the trunk, put something, always cover and make it look nice. So our friend Anthony Morris went on a booze run. He carried out as much he could carry for once, but he did not put it in the trunk. So what I believe, this is an educated guess when you've been on Bethel and know how it works, that the trunk was already full. That is a very educated guess. And I don't know why anyone else, that's like my first, okay, I've never been officially a Bethelite, but I've been on 4 Bethels, and my brain is just looking at this and like, the trunk is full already. Yeah.
He didn't put it in the trunk?
No.
He put it in the back seat?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the thing is, if he would have had some kind of something that makes Watchtower look good, let's say he had bought tomatoes in the trunk, well, then he would take the tomatoes and put them on in front and the booze in the back.
Correct.
So the way I see it, in the trunk, he could have had a dead stripper or booze.
I go with the booze.
Because if
he had a dead stripper.
Yeah, because if there were something that makes Watchtower look good, he could put that in the front seat and the booze in the back. So either dead stripper, dead hooker, or booze.
You laugh, man. I think you're on to something. Did you do a YouTube about this? This is
I
very
mentioned
good
it, but it didn't get any
guess.
views. But
my
first
God, this is
Bethelite eye when I
genius.
saw it is like, oh, the trunk is full already. You go in, you buy as much booze as you can carry, you go out, then you drive to the next place. And when you do a booze round, you're not supposed to look like a Jehovah Witness. So you see, he has a gray coat and no tie.
Yes.
You go in, no one knows who you are. You fill out, you go to the next. You don't give them a tract. You don't talk about paradise.
Got you. And that's why he didn't mention that to the person that was asking him questions.
Yeah.
In that video, I thought I said, oh, he's gonna probably just start right now trying to study with this guy or whatever. But it makes sense what you're saying.
You can't imagine how much problem you would get if you put alcohol visible and drive into Bethel, and someone can see it. Even if it's only other Bethelites, they are really asshole. Not all of them, some of them are nice, but it's a very kind of fear-based environment. If I see your bear, I will tell you that I could see that, and someone would talk to you. Wow. It must be kept under wrapping. Even so, like I said, I told you about the towel before.
Yes.
Like, it was obvious to all the Bethelites, and oh, this guy's been in the sauna instead of the convention. But since I worked at the convention hall, I wasn't expected to go to all the conventions because that would be stupid, So they just thought, okay, he's been in the sauna and he has a 6-pack and his face is red because he's been in a sauna drinking beer the whole day. But okay.
Yeah.
The towel's on top and no one knows. And people would walk up to me and say, congratulations, you've been baptized today. And I say, yeah, kind of. Because they could see me with wet hair. I used to have hair. Did your sound disappear now? I can't hear you. Maybe it's the Smurfs. My money on dead hooker. Yeah. Let's hope not. So see if he come back. Let's see what we say here. Says Tammy says that this cult is definitely going down and great many of JWs are waking up and leaving. So many are turning the GB and everyone involved out. Yeah. So I got someone called me today and was waking up. So I've turned into the.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody tried to call me. That's when it threw me. It threw everything off.
We
Yeah.
had to
Wow.
avoid distractions.
Yeah. I love that. You said it could be the Smurfs.
So you went to Potterson. That's the farm, isn't it?
I went to both. I went to Patterson and Monroe. Yeah, I think one of them was the farm. Yeah, I think that was it could have been a farm. I don't know. They were on, huge, acres of land. So they both were, in my opinion. So yeah, I
You
don't know,
know
but
how
it was a
Watchtower.
horrible experience. What's that?
You know how Watchtower spell the farm?
No.
WTF. It's true.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What
Watchtower Farm.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. Watch out for yeah, but it was very interesting in the way we ate, well, how we sat down, and you have firsthand knowledge of this. Like it was just like so mechanical. They said, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pass it this way or something. It was just ridiculous. It felt like a ritual. It was like, what? We can't just pick up the food and eat. Like, what are you guys
Yeah.
doing? No, we're gonna pass it this way. He's the head of the table, the brother, so he's gonna start, and then he's gonna like. It was like, oh my God, get me out of here, please, somebody, please get me. I'll jump out. I'll climb down the side of the building. Like, get me out of here. Like it was just so mechanical and a lot of fake smiles. It's like, I mean, I know one of you have to have a bad day like right now. Like it's just like everyone, hey, and it was just, come on.
Yeah, it's really depressing to be there. Actually, some people like it, good for them, but people like you and me don't like it. And I remember I was on Bethel in Russia, Finland. Bethel in Finland was one of the worst experiences in my life. And Russia was, and you sit down and they send the food and you send the wrong way. And actually, they came and sent me home from Bethel, and they say the reason was first thing that I had been angry and yelling and throwing stuff around, which was absolutely not true. Someone testified it wrong about me, which is sad,
Yeah.
I was very saddened. But then they said I was sending things the wrong way at the breakfast.
Mm.
And I was basically asked to leave for that.
That is.
And it was you get around in Bethel with this pain, there's something's wrong, and in the end I could say that this is a place without love, and it basically summed it up. It was no love.
Yeah, and
It was not nice, and I thought, because I'm a happy person, I tried to make people happy. So I knew all the rules and obviously know the Bible. So I knew all the loopholes, and I would tell jokes and try to cheer people up. And people would come to me and say all the time, "Don't laugh. This is Bethel."
oh,
And I thought they were
so
joking. Like
horrible.
I have that kind of humor, like
Yeah,
it's kind of Russian humor,
yeah,
like complicated not jokes. You say the opposite of what you mean. So I thought it was some kind of joke. People would come and say, "Don't laugh, this is Bethel." But when I was sent home, I realized that that's where I was sent home, because I had been trying to, within the rule, not violating any rule, just trying to make people happy, make people loose up, trying to get a nice vibe.
yeah.
I was so depressed when I left Bethel in Russia. You can't imagine.
When you left,
Yeah, I was sent home.
oh, okay.
Which also
And
is in Jehovah Witness land is public humiliation that you're sent home.
got you. Got you. Wow. Wow. So you have a lot of knowledge of the inside, um, you know, psych psychotic, I guess ritualistic, whatever you want to call it. You have the inside, because in my opinion, Bethel is the you're starting to get into the core of this organization. If not, that is the core of the organization. That's a step closer than the rank and file that's within just the congregations on the outside. Like, you're one step closer, in my opinion, to the nuts and bolts of this organization. So
Yeah, but
yeah,
they really, like he said, in Arabic, lots of my Fritz kids, and they came back, were on antidepressants. That sounds like, I remember when I came back from Bethel, they say, ask me how it was, and I say, well, I just said something about human imperfection, try to wrap it in nice, and all the elders just look at me and said, no, you can't say that. You have to say that Bethel is a spiritual paradise, and you have to encourage young brothers to make it their life goal to work at Bethel. And all the elders said exactly the same thing.
yeah,
So I realized, it's the circuit overseers that tell them. So the circuit overseer tell them what I should say about Bethel.
yeah,
So I couldn't give my own testimony. I liked Bethel because we had great breakfast. No, you have to say it's a spiritual paradise, and you should encourage
yeah.
young brothers, especially, to make it their life goal to work in Bethel.
Oh, so you had a script.
Yeah,
You had a script that oh, yeah. I'm glad I bypassed all of that, man. I got to be honest. You know.
I am sorry. Now we're talking about me. We should talk about you, but I just have to tell you something.
No, it's fine.
It was I was when this happened in Bethel. I was so sad, and I thought, Bethel was bad, and then I was sent home and publicly humiliated and everything. And
Oh,
I basically thought I had broken Jehovah's organization, and everything was my fault. And now
yeah,
no one will survive Armageddon, and it's my fault. I was really depressed, and I was suicidal. But I thought, you can't kill yourself for Bethel, because that would bring reproach to Jehovah's name. And I told someone, and they told me this story, and I know the parent of this brother that did commit suicide, so I know it's a true
oh,
story. But obviously, I don't know what happened. But
yeah,
they said there was a brother that they catched him in the act of trying to commit suicide. And so I wasn't there, but several of them witnesses told me this story, and they said, well, he tried to commit suicide, and the elders explained to him that that's a serious sin. And then they sent him home, because we couldn't risk him committing suicide here, because that would bring
hmm
reproach to
yeah,
Jehovah's name.
yeah.
And now I say, this is a quotation. They said, we sent him home so he could commit suicide in his home congregation,
Oh my gosh.
which he did.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow.
when you're sent home from Bethel, that is like disfellowshipping light. When you're sent home, that's disgrace. You did something
Uh,
wrong. You were not good enough. And in
yeah.
his case, it was being depressed, and so he tried to commit suicide. He's a really bad place to begin with. And then the loving shepherd said, well, are you feeling a little down? Well, it's important to remember that suicide is a serious sin. And then they send him home.
Just when you think that it can't get any worse, then you hear something like this. This is well, this is the reason why I speak out against it. You know, stories like this. It's a shame. It really is. It
Yeah.
really is. Your community, where is everyone from? I see things coming up, so I'm assuming people are in the chat rooms. Where's your community from? Are they from everywhere, pretty much?
My family.
Your community, meaning the people
Oh
watching
no,
you.
well, actually, I can ask YouTube for that and see who my audience. And I think the people who watch my channel are like 50% from the evil empire, United States of America, and then some
Uh-huh.
Canadians, and not so many Norwegians, a few
Oh
Australians, but
wow. Oh, wow.
Little from, but like
Yeah.
50% are from the United States of
50% are
America.
from the United States. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm one of the 50%. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I tell you, it's a wonderful thing that you do, and I'm the opposite. I kind of like speak from the cuff, so to speak. I don't do too much research, so the guys that's out there like you and like is that Mikey and I forget Lloyd, obviously, and some others, that actually get out there and do the research, and they come with new information. That's the real, I shouldn't say the real activism, but that's the part that I love. But obviously I got other hats that I wear. So me kind of like researching and digging through things to try to get new information, that's not my spiel. My spiel is just speaking from my perspective, my thoughts, my imagination, and my experience, and
Hmm.
I bring my perspective through that lens, as opposed to, hey, I just read that statistic shows that, I'm not that guy, but I got my audience, and people, it's growing, and people seem to like me for what I do,
Hmm.
and I appreciate that. And I'll probably, hopefully, I touch people that I speak in their language, so to speak. I think we got everybody. There's no competition here, hopefully, with everyone, because we speak to a different, demographic, a different people, based on the language that we're speaking. And I'm not talking about our actual language. You know the language I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Our how we come across and who we resonate with. So but that's why I love what you do, because it's almost like you speak from the cuff. There's no, it doesn't seem like it's scripted. It doesn't seem like you may have an outline, but you really just speak from your heart, and that resonates with me personally. You know, so love what you do, man. Love what you
Yeah.
do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You still live in Brooklyn?
I'm right across the pond in New Jersey.
Okay.
I still go to Brooklyn. I frequent Brooklyn, not as much as I used to, because my dad uh, lived in Brooklyn before his passing a couple of months ago. So there's really no real reason to go there as often. But I'm literally like 20-minute drive outside of New York City, Manhattan,
Okay.
42nd, street, the infamous 42nd Street. So I'm 20 minutes away. Uh,
Yeah, I see
so
there's a room behind you for a mattress. I can stay there when I come to America, and you can
yeah,
show me
this is
something.
a guest. This is a guest room. This is like my little guest room that we have just for people like you who want to come to
Yeah.
America and say, "Hey, Shawn, hey, that office still open?" Like, yes, indeed.
I really want to go with ex Jehovah Witnesses and just look at the buildings,
Yeah,
our buildings. Well, I can say our buildings,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
they played such a big role in my life.
Yeah, and you paid for it. I mean, essentially, or at least kept them up and running. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm pretty sure you've made some donations, right?
Oh, yes. So let's see here. Uh, Okuy Butala, I hope I pronounce it correctly, will be disfellowshipped. You can call in and disassociate, and we can make a disassociation instead. That's more fun. Taking control, and then anyone that of your friends that Google you will find you on YouTube, and then they know why you left. So just call good like personality. So I just have some questions. When you were
Sure.
a teenager, you were a rapper, and you would go to the convention, and people that didn't know you as a brother
Uh-huh.
would do this. Did you hear me?
They, yeah, people that didn't know me as a brother, you mean seeing me for the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people would say, hey, like, they would give that look like, wait, I just saw you on maybe this local channel, or rap channel, or MTV. I had music videos on MTV, so it was like, no, can't be, could it? Like that's him, like, you know what I mean?
You were on
Uh,
MTV?
oh yes, yes.
Oh,
Several of my videos made it to MTV, and like I said, I ran the market. I ran the whole circuit, the other circuit, as far as music, and I've experienced a lot, rubbed shoulders, did everything. But like I mentioned before we actually came on air, there's different levels. Not everyone is that superstar, Snoop Dogg, and big superstar. Not everyone makes it, but I still was around the industry in every facet of it. I went on tours. I used to go around touring Europe and signed to record companies, major record labels, on the radio, songs on the radio, things like that. But you have to really immerse yourself in a certain level to sometimes make it to the next level in this business. And you know, things are changing, but I wasn't at the time willing to sacrifice myself to that level. Portraying, a gangster facade and running with certain groups of people that were very sketchy, involved in, gangs and drugs. And like, there was things outside of music that's a part of this entertainment industry that you have to almost subscribe to sometimes to make it to a higher level. And I wasn't ready for that,
mm.
yeah. So now you can, like anything else, you can do it on your own, and you can get your core fans, and you can make a living, as I do, just from people, my core fans, people that like me, such as like YouTube channels, with the exception of it's music, and people go
Mm.
directly to you and your music, and and I could put my videos out there, and so I can be independent, and that's what I am. I'm independent now. Yep. So it's
So
cool, but
I'm just asking, if I wanted to, my company could order a rap about window cleaning to have it in. Would that be possible? I'm not saying I'm going to
um,
do. I'm just curious.
yeah, no. If it's gonna be, it has to be something that coincides with my brand. Like
Okay.
you have a brand. You probably, I don't know if you do, but you have a brand. So there's certain things that if someone said, "Hey, Goat, like, I want you on my program, my Zoom," and like, and they're speaking about a specific topic that would hurt your brand, your channel.
Mm.
Yeah, you probably would say, unless there was some big money involved, I probably wouldn't do that, because it doesn't make sense for me to do that and lose my core audience.
Yeah, yeah.
They would say, what the hell is he doing? Why did he do that? So there's certain things, and I have management. I have a manager that would say, yeah, you talking about the window cleaning service? It's not you. Like,
Ah,
unless it's something, obviously money speaks volumes. So if it was
well,
huge, yeah,
there's no
then
money
I'll
in
make it
Norway,
work.
so don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't matter. So yeah. But yeah, I get gigs like that. People say, hey, they'll send me product, and I'll promote it. I'll just do a video, and I'll be wearing their shirt or whatever. And, I get things happen that way, and tickets. They'll fly me out. Hey, I got tickets. Just speak about my travel agency, and, or just mention it somehow, some way. And you got free tickets to, LA or Jamaica or whatever, so you get incentives like that all the time. So it works for me. It's a good living. It's a good living
Yeah,
for me. Yeah.
rap about goats. Yeah. Well,
Goats.
that anyone can rap about goats. Everyone love goats.
Yeah.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I eat goats.
Yeah, so do
So
I.
do you?
Yeah, of course. I'm a
Yeah,
goat
curry
farmer.
goat. I just had curry goat the
Yeah,
other
that's
day. Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, it's good for
I
you.
do
But
eat goats because I used to be vegetarian once when I was a witness, because then you were trained to believe that unless life is eternal, it has
yeah,
no value. You know, why would you play ukulele now when you can play ukulele forever? And all of that. And if you really buy into that, it's really wrong to kill animals, because then they're really, yeah. But when you at least me, when I accepted my own mortality, I see nothing wrong with eating someone else before something eat me, because life is what happened before someone ate you.
yeah. Correct.
My goats
Correct.
have better life than most humans,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then they repay my goodness with healthy and good food.
Meal. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh,
no
that's a
problem
very
with that.
interesting way to look at it. And
Yeah.
that was another thing. It's like, if you're gonna uphold the law, if you're gonna be, this this Jehovah Witnesses, this Jehovah Witness, this almighty Christian, or whatever, then uphold everything. I don't want to see chicken on your plate. I don't want to see any type of beef. Don't eat a hamburger. Like, let's really like go all the way. Let's do this for real. Don't drink any alcohol. Don't, like, it's like, no cotton clothes, because cotton, they get that from no leather jacket. It's like, let's go all the way. Let's really do this. But you can't just, like, take this, but then, discard that. You know what I mean? That just didn't make any sense. It's like, well, okay, then why do you have to wear a leather jacket or leather shoes? Like, well, you got to wear shoes to go to the kingdom. No, you don't. No, you don't. Put like really thick socks on and walk in the Kingdom Hall, and just like, you don't have to. Like, you're killing cows for your shoes. I'm not saying that I don't, but I'm saying, if you're going to subscribe to that thinking that we want to do what is right in Jehovah's eyes, like then let's do what's right. I don't think
Mhm.
Jehovah would approve of you slaughtering a cow to put on your feet, you know, or
Yeah.
around your, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to really go that route, then let's go that route all the way. Like, God created that. Why, you live in a house, how many trees did it take to cut down to make that house? Like, so, once you can subscribe to everything, then I don't want to hear anything. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, no, you know, and I know that's a little radical, but it's like, it makes sense in my world. It's like, then, but I like what you said, the goat has a good living, more than the average person in some countries. Uh, the goat repays you by you
Yeah.
consuming it and having a good meal. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. If not you, maybe a wild animal, or just an imminent death that is somewhat natural. Like, it's gonna happen, so that's what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah,
Now, life's what happened before something eat you. Something
correct,
will eventually eat me.
correct, correct,
And
correct.
I hope that's why I keep a layer of fat here, so I'll taste good.
Oh, you mean literally eat you? Oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay, I thought metaphorically you're talking about, you're talking about
Nah,
something may really eat you, like a bear or something. What do you got
yeah.
over
In the
there?
end, everyone get eaten
Yeah,
on this
everyone
planet.
gets eaten. Yeah, that's true.
Everyone get eaten. So that's why I
That's true.
have
That's
my
true.
beer gut. It's not bad
You're
discipline.
big.
It's just I'm considerate.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds better to be considerate than out of shape.
Wow,
So
that's true. I haven't gotten to your level yet, by the way, but I respect it.
yeah,
Oh my God.
sorry. I really need to know for my inner peace what happened at the convention, because your congregation was like, okay, Shawn is Shawn, and we tried to encourage him. He come
Mhm.
from this family that's so, but we keep it. But how did it happen when they met other congregation? Because, like, if someone from my congregation would say, look at him, he's a rapper, and my elders from my congregation would say, no, he is not,
Yeah.
and you don't know what rapper is. And if they would find out, no, he is a Jehovah Witness and a rapper, there would be an outcry.
Sure.
Because like my father would go and say, what are we going to say, tell the kids in our congregation if you allow this in your congregation?
Mhm. And I'm sure that there was things that were spoken behind the scene that probably never reached me. I'm pretty sure those conversations happen, especially when I would get into a huddle with certain, I guess, wannabe rappers that were, I guess, couldn't do it out in the open, and they would kind of like say, "Hey, I got this little rap that I wrote, yo, I came up from the street trying not to get beat by the and I would get into those awkward moments where it's like, come on, guys, you're not supposed to be doing this. I'm trying to help you out. I'm good. Like you guys are trying to rap to me and show me, but this is not cool. Like you're not supposed to be doing that. And if I get caught or someone catches you, not me, they catch you, I get the blame. You know what I mean? So this wasn't a spoken thing. I didn't say this to them, but this was a thought like with me. And then after the, they would ask for numbers. Hey, here's my number. Give me a call, or I'll give them my number. They're calling me, and it's like, so I had this whole underworld of people that were the sons of full-time pioneers and elders that were like saying, yo, like, I really want to do what you do. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
I would have that conversation. I would say, bro, you can't do that. Like you can't, like, are you willing to leave or get put out? Like you can't do that. And then I got the calls sometimes, especially when I was younger, still living at home, to my parents or my mother saying, your son, whatever, he's influencing, so I had that whole little run, where it would, but it didn't cause a major uh, uproar up front. I'm pretty sure what you mentioned, those conversations happen behind the scenes, maybe with other, elders from other congregations talking to elders from the congregation that I went to. I'm pretty sure they had that. They had that conversation, but it never really reached me. Um, like I guess, full front. It never really touched me like that. Like, but it was weird, and it still is. It really is. I come across people. I had one person that wrote me that is still in, and he's like, I'm a producer, and I would really love to produce something for you. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you out? And it's like, no, I still go. I'm like, that can't happen. It's not going to happen. It's you know what I mean? You have to really make that decision as to whether or not you're going to stay or leave. It's not, I'm not going to be, that guy, the guy that kind of like, I guess, is the core. I want to be the cause of people coming to their senses, but it's a very sensitive situation when someone is a very young adult. You're talking about 18, 19 years old. It's like, and you still live under their roof. You don't have your own place. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to be a cause of you maybe getting kicked out of the house because they find out that you did a song with Shawn Breed, and it's like he's a rapper, like, get out the house. And then you're calling me up like, hey man, I'm homeless. Can I utilize your guest room before Goat like comes in and takes it? It's like,
Goat
you
like in
know.
Gosha.
So yeah, so it's still weird, but I don't pay too much mind to it. I'm in my own other world. But it's a question that I get asked with every Jehovah Witness that comes to, hey, you still do music? And I love it because it's like that's what I'm known for, as opposed to, hey, you still out in service, or not out in service, not at this point, but hey, you're still, you know, active, or you're still whatever they ask other, Jehovah Witnesses. I don't know. But I don't get asked that, obviously. It's like, you still doing music? Yeah, I'm still doing music. Like, that's what I'm known for. Yeah. So
Nah,
that's
I think you're lucky. I'm thinking you're reminding me of about a brother I saw at the last convention I was on in the Oslo Convention Hall, because it was a young brother, like maybe 18, and
uh-huh.
he was in good spirits. He was well dressed, and he was talking to everyone. No guilt, no shame. He was just at the convention, being happy, talking to people in a skirt.
In a skirt.
In a skirt. So I walked straight up to him and said, "Hello, brother. That's a nice skirt." And he said, "Thank you." So he was.
Wow.
So I guess his parents were like, "You have to go to the convention hall because you live under our roof." And he said, "Yes, but I'll dress myself."
Wow. Oh, thumbs
That's
up
what I
that guy.
guessed. But I went straight up to say, "Hello, brother. Nice." I was
Yeah.
Pimo, but I went up.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
the
yeah.
witnesses. They're
Yeah.
nice. They're
Yeah.
my people. It's our tribe after all. I went up and
Yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah. So this
and the elders in my congregation. Obviously, I went up to shake his hand and congratulations on a nice skirt, because I thought he was a great guy and he was brave.
yeah.
But I also did it because I knew the elders were watching me. My elders.
Yeah, sure. Sure. So there was a
So,
plan behind the
killing two
plan.
birds with
Yeah.
one stone,
Yeah, exactly.
pissing off my elders.
Uh-huh. Wow. It's like, why did you go and be nice to him? Why? That's
Why would you be
crazy.
nice to
Yeah.
someone with wrapped in the same clothing as Jesus are wearing?
Yeah. Yeah, basically, basically.
Think about this. Jesus and Jehovah and all these God guys, they can predict the future. Yeah. And know he would be crucified. And still, he was wearing a skirt. He was a flasher. I think brother Burper fall out here. But anyway, he'll come back probably. They always do. Think about it. If Jesus Christ can predict the future, he knew they would pin him up there and everyone would be standing down here watching him. And he did not invent trousers. Imagine Jesus. He could turn water into wine and wine into trousers. And then he put out on the trousers before they hang him in public. But no, he thought, that's okay. I'm a perfect man with a perfect body, and everyone get to see as a witness. So I think that's where we start this end this live stream with some blasphemy for those that believe Jesus is God. But you can't argue with me. If he can predict the future, he could invent trousers, and he knew he got to be hanging there. That's a premeditated flashing situation. So let's see the last. I wore a tie and a suit to a meeting once. They were not impressed. Tie with a suit jacket. And I thought they had his mind blown, but it's frozen. And the last one here, I think Watchtower presumes he had a turban, diaper, or something. Yeah, they put a diaper on him all the time, which is okay. This is sad. Executions are not fun, but if they were hanging for days, they would, yeah, things would drop. It's human beings are not necessarily nice to each other, but you've been very nice to me, especially those that gave me some what do you call it, super stickers. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you for our friend Shawn Miller. And this is a disassociation, so we have the dissociation thing here. Shawn Myles is no longer one of Jehovah Witnesses. So see you in paradise.